What is virtually inevitable at this point, yet most people don't see it coming? 1. American consumers are being priced out of consuming. 2. Cases of perpetrators using AI images/videos to defame people online will increase more and more. Digital evidence will longer be acceptable as evidence, by itself, in the court of law, or in the eyes of the public. 3. A war over water resources. 4. Well, this thread was depressing. 5. VPNs and all internet anonymity is slowly on the way out. Countries that aren't actively suppressing it are actively surveilling it, and the whole world is probably going to end up with real name laws. Virginia and California already have something similar to the UK's Online Safety Act, Europe has its own version, Australia has basically taken teenagers offline. The days of John Smith saying no worries, I'll just use my VPN are numbered. I know a load of people will say that's not even possible, mate. Do you understand how the internet works? But they're being very naive and probably don't work in tech. China were caught possibly experimenting with it recently under the guise of a technical problem. What Snowden told us about places like Thomas Street was deeply concerning, and that was 2013. 6. The shutdown of the AMAC, which will be disastrous for everyone on Earth. 7. There is about to be a massive fuel shortage that isn't just going to peter out like the previous ones. 8. There is a book called The Good Earth that describes what happens when the rich are too rich and the poor are too poor. 9. For me, it's the likelihood of the collapse of farming as we know it in the USA. Between fuel increases, inflation pricing on machinery, or commodity prices, it seems like farming is currently on the brink. I've followed the subreddit for a few years because of this, and it seems like they've been shouting that they need real help for a while. As it stands, it seems like corporate farms are acquiring family farmland at an alarming rate. 10. The massive U.S. economic downturn from 5 decades of tax cuts and running deficits so politicians would not have to make any hard choices of either raising taxes or cutting spending. 11. Nuclear proliferation. Russia's invasion of Ukraine proved that giving up nukes in exchange for security guarantees is a terrible idea. North Korea and Israel show that it's worthwhile to pursue a nuclear program for some countries because it is ultimately possible to complete it even in the face of external opposition. There's a lot of countries that are strongly incentivized now, Taiwan firstly, Japan and South Korea too. Iran pretty much has to continue its program, not to mention some other European countries like Sweden, Poland, and Germany. The old system of preventing proliferation is dead, even if many people haven't realized yet.